Hi there, my name is Steven and I'm the Director of Education here at Beyond Education Consulting. I typically teach SAT and ACT preparation as well as AP Language and AP Literature. Frankly, I've worked with topics ranging from all sorts of math, history, science, just about anything you name. I've worked with it at one point or another here at BEC and elsewhere. I've been working as a tutor or instructor for just about 11 years. So I originally began studying biomedical engineering at the University of California in Merced way back, probably around 2008, give or take. And I graduated from that college with a bachelor's, again in bioengineering. I would later on, much later in my career in teaching and education, go on to get a master's of education. My master's in education is centered around educational leadership and administration. I would say the thing I'm most passionate about when it comes to teaching is probably tackling standardized exams. It's something that I do a lot of these days. I think I'm very good at it, and I always love helping students to take that next step into usually an admissions or some kind of entrance exam kind of process. So I would say that's what I'm most passionate about in general. So studying the SAT and the ACT is something of a necessity. I wouldn't say it's something that you're going to see a lot of in the K through 12 education system, and certainly not in college, although it's necessary to go to college. The reason that got me most into it was just a need for my students to figure out how to tackle something that is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours long and counts so much in some cases for college admissions. So it's not that I was desiring to study SAT and ACT, it's just that I knew my students would benefit from it, and so I dove right in. I would say that I have a lot of favorite experiences. In general, when students get their scores, it is something of a make or break moment. A make moment in that we get the number that we're looking for and they know they are going to be competitive when it comes to the next steps of some kind of admissions process. Again, usually we're talking about college in these cases. At the same time, the break moment happens when we're not quite there, but then I actually enjoy that too because I'm able to step in and provide insight, provide next steps for my students and give them a good sense of kind of, well, where do we go from here? So no matter whether we hit our mark or we miss it by a bit, there's always kind of a clear next step. And ultimately, when we always, of course, do achieve our goals, then my favorite moment really is just seeing them excel and be so excited about these next steps they're going to be taking in their lives, and seeing what they do with those. I've had so many times when students reach out to me in college or even after college and they say, because we hit that note, that number, or because we got the opportunity that we did through the SAT, through our application, I am where I am today, thanks to that experience, in part thanks to you. So that's always something that I love to hear from my students, and it absolutely makes this job worthwhile. I would say the thing that I enjoy most is helping students to conquer these exams, which again, I know I sort of circled around standardized testing a lot, but there is so much thinking from the College Board or from admissions boards that goes into these exams. There's so many kind of puzzle pieces, if you will, that they have to put in front of students to gauge how effective they are as learners and ultimately college attendees. I just really enjoy helping students to sort of figure out their personal challenges, figure out the questions that they have with these tests, and ultimately, again, help them to excel and conquer these things to the best of their ability. As far as what I bring to the table, I would be remiss if I didn't mention just the breadth of my experience. I've been working with these exams and other topics for the better part of 10 years, probably closer to 11 or 12 at this time. And I find that what I'm able to do with students is very quickly relate either topics or content, strategies. I'm able to very quickly kind of pull out a variety of tools that I've used previously and help students to use them for their own sort of gain. So I would say the fact that I have seen just about everything when it comes to SAT, ACT, and other test work, I would think that's probably the biggest advantage that I offer to students. So I'm in a very unique position with regard to this question. As the director of education here, my job is to oversee all of the instructors, to help them with resources and lend them my own experience where applicable, to train them up and make sure that they are the best educators they can possibly be. So why should a student work with us here at BEC, whether it's myself or someone else? I would say it's because, one, our instructors are very heavily trained, they're very well supported, and ultimately they're tailoring the experience to each individual student. They're going to be working very hard to find out what is the most good we can do, what is the most support we can offer from session to session, month to month, and really we're going to be in communication with parents the entire way to make sure everyone's on the same page and everyone's happy with the direction that we're moving in. So I guess it's a lot to unpack right there, but the bottom line is BEC, Beyond Education Consulting, really is about customizing the experience for each student as much as possible through one-on-one learning. The best piece of advice that I've ever gotten as a student is that it is okay to be the fool in order to become the master. And what that means to me as a piece of advice is it's okay to stumble. It's okay to fail and fall over and kind of make mistakes as you go along. In fact, that is necessary if you're ever going to master a topic or truly have an ironclad grasp of it. I know that when I've been working with students, I've sometimes gotten it wrong in my past. I've sometimes made mistakes when it comes to grammar rules. I've sometimes made mistakes when it comes to biological processes and all the nomenclature therein. And that's been okay, because what I've always known to do also is pick myself up, figure out what the problem was, and then enact a solution as quickly as possible. Ultimately, in having sort of a growth mindset in that regard, in other words, learning from the misses that I would occasionally have, I know that I'm a better instructor for it. I know I'm a better learner for it. And ultimately, I think students will be better if they're just more comfortable having sometimes those little missteps. It's very normal in a process where you are learning something, you are growing into maturity, you're growing into a stronger grasp of a topic. So be comfortable with those hiccups, be comfortable with those little missteps along the way. So long as you're learning from them, ultimately I guarantee you will master the topic that you're working with. So I think the very last thing I'd like to share about myself, this is something going way back in my own personal history as a student, but it's also a bit of a challenge to all of my SAT and ACT test takers out there. When I was your age, preparing for college, my original SAT score was a 1530. So what do I want to share with you? I want to give you a challenge. Your challenge is to beat my 1530, which is a 35 equivalent on the ACT. That's what I got when I was just about 17 or 18. So if you're looking for a number to beat, if you're looking for a high score to attach to your exam, that is the one for you. 1530, 1530. I'd love to see what you can do. I'd love to hear about your success going forward. And if you're not currently working on the SAT or the ACT, that's okay. Hold on to that number. I'd love to see you beat it in the future. Thank you so much.